Am I on air? Yeah. Yes. Yes, I am. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the live stream. Bradley from VI Productions is not on at the moment, and he will be here momentarily. We are trying to get our third correspondent, Bryce Cawthron. We are trying to get him on air right now. So as we try to handle that, I'm going to give you a little tech review of the, what is it? LG MS 695 F3 Optimus. This nice little gadget right here. See? The screen's bright, but as you can see, it is a small, compact little phone. This is my phone currently with Metro PCS. It has 1 gigabyte of internal RAM, 4 gigs of storage, only 1.2 usable to the user. It can hold a number of contacts, really. It's not that good for gaming. It has a 4 to 5 inch display. I forgot the exact display specs. It has a, let me open up the battery compartment here. It has a 2460 milliamp battery, so that could last for hours on standby, really. And I believe we have Bradley here on the stream with us.
Howdy, howdy.
Yes, we do.
Howdy. All right, guys. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming tonight. It means a lot to me and Dominic. We really appreciate it. It's been a crazy evening, lots of technical difficulties, time codes, all that good stuff, but you guys aren't worried about that. I just wanted to come out and say enjoy the show. I'm going to let him do his tech thing real quick, and here quickly we'll have our guest speaker. All right, thank you. Hold one moment.
All right.
You're on.
Back to what I was saying, is the LG F3 Optimus is a small phone. It's on carriers from such as Metro PCS, Virgin Mobile, and other providers like it. It has not been manufactured since 2013. This is an old phone. It's a great little phone though. If you need a good smartphone and you don't have the money to go and get a new, well, let's say for Metro PCS or Virgin Mobile, the LG K7 or the Samsung Galaxy Prime, then this is a great budget phone. You can pick this up at the flea market for about 15 bucks. You could go to eBay and get this even cheaper, around 5 bucks. It's really, really a nice phone. Downside is it is LG, so do expect bugs and no updates for this phone. It comes with, let me see here. Let me go to my settings. About phone. And let me go to software information. Android version 1.1.2. 4.1.2, sorry. 4.1.2 Android. So that means, if I look, we got good old Jelly Bean. Let me get that into focus. See? As you can see, it is Jelly Bean. I'm in a dark room, so forgive the amount of lighting and the time it takes for the camera to adjust. That's my tech spotlight for now. The LG MS 695, everybody, also known as the F3 Optimus.
All right, so I'm going to take it from here. I just wanted to say I want to come over and basically discuss what's going on right now with us as far as VI. So we plan on trying to do, and of course Domvision Studios, because Domvision Studios is just awesome like that. Me and Dominic plan on trying to do lots more consistent shows. We want to try, right now as the schedule looks, expect shows Friday nights, Sundays, possibly Saturday. Thursday nights, possibly Saturday afternoon. It just depends, and of course Tuesday. So about 4 days, 5 days worth of shows, and that's at least one show a day, guys. We really want to get you guys going more. We want to bring lots of stuff to you, but yeah, so far that's what we've got, and later we'll end up talking about a little bit about Bitcoin and Brussels attacks and some cool stuff you can do with Bitcoin and a Pi.
Also, what I have to say is that I'll be going over Advanced System Care tonight. It's a great software package by IOBit.
Right, and so I think that would be something to hit up right now. So let's go to Dominic over at our remote center.
All right, I'm going to share my screen, everybody. And he's going to switch it over. Is it switched over?
Yep.
Okay. As you can see here, I have for apps, I have Smart Defrag 4, IOBit Malware Fighter, Driver Booster 3, and Advanced System Care 9. All part of the Advanced System Care package. Let me open Advanced System Care 9. And as you can see, this is the free version. But if I want to hit select all, I can select all these. That is not a problem. As you can see, it wants me to update new version. I'm not going to do that now. This is really where the pro features come in right here. This is where you can only do certain things, such as speed up. Some of this is pro, product. Most of these are pro features. Toolbox. As you can see, this is when you start getting into the pro. But the basic, clean, and optimize all comes with the free version. So it's really a nice cleanup. It can be compared or even surpass CCleaner in most ways. Let's go over to Driver Booster 3. With Driver Booster 3, what it does is it looks at your drivers. So right here, I look at my drivers and it says, hooray, all drivers are up to date. And as you can see, I have a whole bunch of drivers here, a whole list of drivers, and a whole list of mostly serial bits. And then, as you can see, it also checks your up-to-date game components. So Microsoft DirectX runtime, your C++ 2008, and my C++ 2010 redistributables. As you can see, I'm missing 2005 and 2016, but those can be fixed if I download. Then you have IOBit Malware Fighter. And this is essentially a standard antivirus malware fighter, really. And it doesn't conflict with any other malware fighter and software protection system out there because it doesn't register in Windows as that. It registers as a program. So it doesn't fight for control, and you can have multiple antivirus softwares installed at the same time along with this. Then you have Powerful Uninstaller. So let's say you get some malware and you don't want this malware and you can't get rid of it the normal way through Windows. What you can do is through Powerful Uninstall. Hello, Bryce. As you can see through Powerful Uninstall, you can uninstall anything from your computer and delete any of the files attached to it. So if you get unwanted malware and software, you can simply uninstall it through there. And then if you go to Smart Defrag, it's your simple disk defragment software.
Hold on, I'll be right back.
And that is essentially it with your Advanced System Care package.
All right, guys. So, anyways, so sorry about that. My face is a little crazy. So what we're going to talk about tonight is something we talked about last night, and I think it's actually really important because we actually have viewers tonight. Not a lot of them, but we have viewers. Thank you, all of you.
I'll be in the chat all night, so any questions, just ask.
And that's another thing I wanted to say. Anything you guys want to ask, anything. This is the place. Like, you can ask anything. It can be way out there, you know, not out there. It doesn't matter. Ask it, because we love hearing from you guys. So and check that subscribe button out and that like button, please. Helps us a bunch. Okay, so we kind of went over Brussels last night, but more than that, I wanted to talk about this whole thing with the FBI and the NSA and all these big name, surveillance agencies, and how they have loopholes now. They have Project Prism. They have Project what was it? Blue Sky. I mean, all these different programs that are all about surveilling and data mining, and then eventually archiving, whether you do something or not. So I'm going to let Dominic kind of recap what we talked about last night, and then before we really get into it, we'll bring on Bryce and introduce him and go from there.
All right. Well, before I even get started, I want to ask Bryce. Bryce, could you turn your camera on for us? All right. There we go. That's cool. All right. Well, what we talked about last night is on how really that the Brussels attacks were and what they were. We talked about how the FBI and Operation Prism was a data scanning and collection operation. So that's really Bradley's thing when it gets into that. I am your local tech corner, and then we have our special guest, Bryce. I would like to turn it over to Bryce, and let's see what he has to say.
One moment, guys. We're having some technical difficulties. Bryce, do me a favor, unmute your mic. It's up at the top or at the settings or wherever you're looking. Same thing with you, Dom. There you go. All right, now just you, Bryce. All right. Do me a favor and get out of the chat and end your little chat call with us, and then come on back in, because you're muted right now. I can't figure out how to unmute you, and I think you have to do it. Dom, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
All right, man. So while Bryce works on his side of it, because it's my fault, guys. Don't blame him. Let's go into basically. I'm sure everyone's heard, but the FBI apparently found a loophole around how to get into the Apple iPhones. Now, this is such a big thing because, look, you might not be an iPhone user, you might be, but the bottom line is it's an encrypted system, a security policy they're trying to get around, and to do that, to get around that, they wanted a back door. We already know the government's been caught red-handed with their hand in the cookie jar, so to speak, multiple times. Surveilling U.S. Americans and foreign diplomats and other governments. But the bottom line is, it wasn't because they were committing crimes. It was because they were worried that we would. They didn't know who we are, so they worried that we would. Bottom line is, though, that's illegal and unconstitutional. And I think that it's really important people know about what really, as far as privacy goes, we're entitled to. So I'm going to hand it over to Bryce now. Thank you for joining us, Bryce.
Yes,
and yeah, we can hear you. Thanks.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us, Bryce, and we're glad to have you on the show.
All right. Thank you, guys. You guys don't know who I am. I'm Bryce. I do have my own YouTube channel, which I am.
Go show him lots of love, guys. Go show him lots of love. Links will be in the description later.
I need it like a lot. To be honest about the stuff that we were talking about, the Brussels, on any police kind of basis, I don't really have much say, because I personally do not deal with that kind of stuff. I don't think about it as much.
Right, but it should be the number one thing you think about, because it all comes into one. Okay, let me say this. And Dominic, you can rule on this too. But okay, you have an iPad right now that you're coming in live to us, right? Okay, right. So understand when I say that we're directly talking about the security on your iPad and your iPhone, right? Okay.
Right.
The FBI went to Apple and said, "Hey, you're going to build this back door." Basically, they said it nicer than that, but that's what they basically said. And if you don't, then we're going to come after you. Apple said, "Go stick yourself," in so many words, because you know what? Apple for once stood up and said, you know what, we're not doing this. We're not going to play your game. We're not going to let you push us around. We might be a corporate company, but you know what, the bottom line is we have policies. You're trying to go around those policies because you think you're better than us? Not happening. Look.
Yeah.
And the FBI is trying to fight this out. Big thing with this is, okay, look, if it was something as simple as, hey, the FBI went to him and said, let's build a task force that's going to build a patch specifically for this phone, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. That would be different, and it has to do with some of these shootings that have happened there. They're trying to get into a specific iPhone supposedly and all this stuff, right? But the big issue with it is that what they're trying to get them to do is create to destroy the security policies in place to protect the encrypted phone. The issue with that, so that they can crack it easier, the issue with that is now you're not just affecting one phone, but you're affecting all iOS devices.
It's true.
Okay, so now I'm going to hand it over to
the crack right there.
Right, and I want to talk more about this in a minute, and the NSA scandals with Operation Prism, Edward Snowden, that kind of thing, and we'll get into that. But first, I want to hand it over to Dominic so he can talk about, from a technical point of view, and from someone who does encryption and who does computer stuff, what that world could look like. All right, Dominic, you got the floor.
Okay, so essentially what'll happen is when you have your device, let's say it's encrypted, you have a password on it, and you try to keep it secure, right? You want to be anonymous. A world where that's impossible for any iOS device really would be like saying, we own your iOS device, you no longer have your identity on there. We own your identity as the government. We can control your identity. We know it all. You can't hide anything from us.
Can I interject for a minute? Just add a question. I have a question for you. Would it be a good question, a good suggestion to say that it wouldn't even it would first be iOS, but it would spread because the government would get this idea, and it wouldn't just be one government. Once one does it, they all do it. And so for me,
kind of like a chain reaction right there.
Right. And so my question to you is it plausible enough to say that it wouldn't just be iOS owners, but it'd be all devices?
Pretty soon it would move from iOS to Android and from Android to Amazon devices, and then after that, of course, it would hop from government to government. Of course, if it started with the US, then countries like North Korea, who've already done this in the past, would get the okay, essentially, to go in public with this, going, we do this. Because once they see that a first world respected nation by an international community is doing this, and they get the idea that they get the thumbs up and that they can go public with this information that they've been doing for years, which is against not only the
Constitution, the
International Bill of Rights, but against your basic human rights of privacy.
Right. And so for me, the question I was trying to ask was basically, not even just phones, but computers, websites. I mean, anything digital, really, anything with encryption.
A lot of stuff.
Because once they start doing it, what's their real end game?
There really isn't.
Total control, right? Total access.
Yeah.
The end game would be that you would no longer have any freedom on the web.
Right.
Okay, let me set up a scenario for you. Let's say 20 years in the future, we have computer chips in our neck, right? And they stick out, kind of like this. We have these things in our neck that act like computers, and they create a visual display only for us that only we can see, and it registers with our brain waves, right? So it knows who each person is, what each user does.
Right.
And we had a world network, right? Which would be essentially like the cell towers 4G LTE now.
Right.
And let's say in this future, the government has access to every data point in that network and every single, let's call them neurocomputers, because they would link up with your brain. And then let's compare that future with the same future 20 years in the future, but where your personal rights have been protected and you're able to have that privacy. there's an entirely different aspect, because at that point either the government can control you through demands, or you could be completely free due to the fact that you have anonymity.
Right, and I mean, there's so much movement on this. I mean, my big thing, my big pet peeve with it is, okay, and we were discussing this yesterday. If they really wanted into the phone, why didn't they create a task force? Why didn't they task an agent to create the program? I mean, it's not like they don't have the money or the resources. Come on, let's be serious.
I'm pretty sure they do.
I mean, it's a multi-billion-dollar, you know,
it's a pretty big
government with black book funding. Let's be serious. But more than that, why didn't they go, okay, well, you know what? Why didn't Apple or even the FBI more than anyone, because they could have done this on their own. They could have tied it specifically to that IMEI, you know, or gone, hey, Apple, look, we get why you don't want to do it, but let's tie it specifically to that phone, right? And they didn't, and I feel like that's a really raw deal. You know, I feel like that, you know, is a danger to all of us.
They should have done it some other way.
There's plenty of other ways they could have done it, but they had to go and take the route that would ultimately lead to the government owning your own personal information.
Basically, corruption.
Right.
Not only corruption, but complete control,
and that's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. It wouldn't be a united nation; it'd be a you either listen or we'll make you listen. And you know, I want to go into more in depth with Edward Snowden. I'd really like to talk about him, because I think in this very moment, he's a very big player in this, and in a good way. He's fighting for all of us, and I think everyone needs to know. All right, so basically, Edward Snowden was an NSA agent, NSA, CIA. I mean, he had jobs in all the agencies. He was a black book agent, hushed, and he was lucky enough to have, and don't blame me if I'm wrong, please, I'm probably way off, but the bottom line is, he had a job with really high clearance, okay? We're talking, you know, being able to access files that most people will never know about. Well, they will now, but the big bottom line is,
he was a high person in a high place with a lot of power. And what he did was he used that power, and he made everything he knew public.
Right, because he felt that what the U.S. government was doing, what the people that were in partnership were doing, okay, was not only wrong, but you know, morally, but unconstitutional, illegal internationally, and just absolutely tyrannical. You know, and maybe I've got that a little bit, you know, personalized, a little bit hyped up, but anyone, if this gets back to Edward, we'd love to have you on the show, but
yeah, we'd love to have you here.
You know, what do I say right at this moment? You know, the big thing is this, guys. Listen, he risked everything. He's still running for it. All right, he's right now in Russia, as far as I know, but he's still risking everything, his neck, because he wanted us to all know that, like, every time we made a call, every click we made, every email
we did,
right, it was being
button, whatever stuff.
Right. It was being recorded, it was being monitored, and it was being used and archived, and you were being profiled. Every single thing.
And as a tech standpoint, you know, there's another thing about that. It's not only the government that watches your keystrokes and your clicks when you're on the internet and when you're on apps that connect to the internet. It's ad companies too. Ad companies do the same thing, so they can make personalized ads to you and bug the living crap out of you.
Well, yeah, that's true, but I think the big line here is, and I want Bryce to step in here in a second. I think the big thing with that, though, that people don't realize is, yeah, sure, ad companies do it. But when a government steps in, and we're not talking about, you know, they're accessing their own connections. directly to your PC. But they're not only doing that, but they were trunking, and by trunking I mean they had direct access to the servers and the systems of the big name companies and small name. I mean, we're talking Kik, we're talking Skype, Gmail, Google,
We're talking.
Microsoft.
A bunch
we're
of other
talking.
stuff.
We're talking also here. There's a for all of you people who've heard of Amino Apps. I forget what the company who does it is. What studio does this?
There's a certain company that does that. I don't remember which one.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking it up right now.
Right, and so, you know, I mean, it's crazy. It really is crazy.
The company is Amino Apps. So them too. It's no one that can get away, no matter what community you are. Even companies like your cell phone provider are being launched. It's you can't get away from it.
Right, and so I'm gonna let Bryce here talk for a minute, and then after which I'm gonna let you guys know about what's coming up.
All right. As far as I've heard you guys talk, I understand that a bunch of companies are doing a bunch of crap, as I can say it right now without being, what's the word for it? Not mean, but
Rude.
yes, rude.
Right.
Yeah, but there's a big tree that watches like
Right, but it's more than that. I mean, it's the government.
It's like a tree. It's a chain. It's whatever you want to call it. But people have to have their freedom. Otherwise, it's just gonna be like what happened in the past when basically we had other countries ruling over us. We had a king and all that.
You're talking about the 1700s, the revolutionary period of the U.S.
Yes, that.
All right, so
but it'd be more of computers and technology, and it'd be a lot more explosive than it was in the past.
Right. So I'll kick it off. So some of the things you can do is, and Dominic might disagree on this. Granted, do your homework, okay? Be very careful on what you do on these sites and networks. Download Tor, okay? Tor, specifically the Tor bundle, guys. The Tor network is the deep web, the dark web, the underweb. It's hidden. It's not a normal internet like you're thinking of, and it's censored. Or not censored, but it's secure. It's anonymous, and it can't be tracked. Guys, it's your #1 best friend.
Now, here's my thing on it. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying if you don't know what you're doing, stay away from it. Because there are plenty of people who go into the dark net, deep web, underweb, whatever you want to call it. And,
underground, whatever.
And they don't know how to spoof their MAC address, or they spoof their IP address, depending on if you're a Mac or PC user. And what happens is that their computer identity gets stolen and is used against them.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Again, do your homework, because if you don't, you go in blind. You're not going to know where. You're going to go into places, and that's going to happen. If you do your homework, you're fine. Okay. The other big thing is Veracrypt. VER. Okay. VERA. Crypt.
I think I've heard that from you before.
Yeah, I love the software, and I'll stand by it every day, every hour. It's a true crypt runoff. Guys, it's a beautiful software. DoD and above level security, 35 pass, encryption, 128-bit, AES, full encryption. You can pick others. Guys, check it out. It's really amazing. It's free. It's open source. What else could you love about it? So, yeah. And it's secure.
What I want to say about... We're talking about open source software, sorry.
Right.
And you brought up another point. When it comes to software, it's never too... It's never too bad to be sorry.
Yeah.
Software I want to put spotlight on today, besides advances in care for keeping your PC clean, is yes, it costs money. Don't be mad at me, but I use it. It's Power ISO, and if it's okay with Bradley, I'd like to show everybody what it looks like.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna share my
Say
screen.
go ahead.
Queuing that up.
Okay.
You're good, Joe.
Alright. And here it is, Power ISO. I mean, you look at it, it's a well-built program. It's a lot better than 7-zip in my opinion, because unlike 7-zip, it can open and extract about anything, and it can create your own backup ISOs. So what you can do is, let's say you bought a DVD and you wanted to keep a digital copy backed up to your computer. You can create a virtual disk for it, and you can create a virtual disk drive, and you can use it whenever you want. And it's completely legal. As long as you don't distribute it, then it's completely legal. But I do warn you, people will take the power of ISO, and they will upload things for like games, movies, CDs, and other stuff to Pirate Bay, torrents, and other sites like that. So I say use Power ISO wisely. It's a great tool.
Alright, go ahead, Bryce.
I didn't really have anything to say.
I'm putting you on the spot.
But I know. There's not really any certain software or anything that I really use, but I have to say, before you actually go to anything, at least look at the detail of what you're looking at. Like, at least look it up or find some kind of detail or something to the.
Sorry about that, guys.
You're good. You're good.
Okay.
To that, and just try to get a good graphic detail image in your head.
Essentially research what you're doing.
Yeah, pretty much.
I won't doubt that. One thing I want to say is people look up these tutorials on how to do stuff on YouTube, and they're all half-baked. I've never found a tutorial that's once gotten everything right. They're all half-baked. Bradley, turn off your mic.
Howdy.
There you go, you're back.
Yeah, technical difficulties.
Yep. I love the weather. It's just beautiful. Not.
It's raining at his house.
It's more than rain.
Is it raining outside? Because I don't hear it. I don't hear it.
Don't ask. It's
storming at his house right now. It's clear at my house, everyone.
Clear in my
crazy.
place too.
I think for an idea for our viewers, I think it would be a good idea to like say where we all are. I'll start off. I'm in Palm Coast.
Tampa.
Bryce? Yeah, Bradley's in Tampa. Bryce, where are you?
I'm in Bradenton, I'm Bradenton, Sarasota area.
So, as I can see, Bradley's here and there in a major city. Me and Bryce are down in the boonies, essentially.
Pretty much.
No,
I'm more in the
Tampa is close enough that I can give it without giving away my location. So, yeah, there's that.
But I'm just saying, you're located within the city limits of a huge city, while me and Bryce are in
I'm actually
backwoods.
not, but okay. Anyhow, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Well, you said you're from Tampa. We're keeping it at that.
I said I'm from Tampa. It
We're
doesn't
just
mean
setting it
I'm
there.
in
We're
Tampa.
just setting it there.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, Mr. I'm so secure. I don't want to give away my actual location for our
No,
viewers.
I don't.
I
I already deal with it.
No,
I don't
wouldn't.
need crazy.
I wouldn't do it either. I wouldn't do it.
Not to say that my
wouldn't do
viewers
it.
are crazy or our viewers, but you know, I mean, there are people who can lose it. I just don't need
Right.
a crazy guy trying to kill me, because I will murder him, and I don't want to go to jail.
It's true.
Yeah, well,
I mean, what can I say?
And I've got enough stuff at my house to deal with already.
Trust
so I
me.
don't want
Trust
any more
me.
crazy.
Let me
I
put
don't
it
want
this
any
way.
more
I'm
crazy
from
stuff.
Pasco. Let me put it this way. I'm from Pasco.
there you go, everybody. He's from Pasco.
Don't come playing. Don't try to find me, because if you do, I will find out, and I will come for you.
Dun dun dun.
Someone finally did it! I love you, Bryce.
I'm sorry. I've been working on that voice for a very long time. Very long.
As you can see,
It is taking me a while to actually perfect that.
I think for the sake of our viewers, let's all just say what we want to do with our lives. Bryce, you start out.
Are you starting out with the?
What do you want to do with your life?
For the most part, kind of just do, just write pretty much. But for mostly for my YouTube channel, I kind of just want to do like a bunch of like video game videos. Well, whatever I've got at my house to play with, pretty much. Be that may PlayStation, Wii, DSA, whatever I've got, and just showing them what to do, pretty much.
So you want to show them how to game. You want to show them how you game.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's a nice goal. Bradley, what's the future for your channel?
Well, for me and my channel, it's just that. It's a beautiful channel. It's eventually going to be a company.